Welcome back. So as you see, I watched 3 games tonight. They were all on at the same time, and I thought, sure. So really, this comes down to whichever games are being broadcast. And there have been preseasons where I try to, get to watch all the teams, but not all the teams are being broadcast here for me. And so tonight I watched Boston, Philly. Second time I've watched them against one another. The Islanders, New Jersey, and Montreal and Toronto. And these were fun games between teams who had varying levels of NHL talent in the lineup. Boston, for instance, seemed to rest most of their regulars. The other teams, mixed results with some of the young guys they had in there, but there are some star names on there for everybody else. But yeah, I need to cut back on my notes. I really do. I get so used to in the playoffs, and then when I'm just covering one game during the preseason, write notes on whatever I'm seeing. And once we get to the regular season, I need to cut back a little bit. All right, starting off with Boston and Philadelphia. Timestamps. Swayman versus Ersson in this one. Ersson had a good game. I'd be interested to see which goaltenders make it for the Philadelphia Flyers. There was a spirited discussion on who might end up on waivers, and Toronto might lose Martin Jones. And Caprio said, well, that's the best option for Tampa, or something to that effect. And I thought, is it though? There are a lot of teams right now with more than 2 goaltenders, and so it's going to be interesting to see who Tampa does pluck off the waiver wire. But for Philadelphia, Swayman versus Ersson, good back and forth early, good flow to the game. Ristolainen has a shot tipped wide as the Flyers press. The Bruins with some pressure, they couldn't get to the net, and that was the storyline most of the night. I think they had 12 shots at the end of this game. Sanheim's denied on a net drive. We get a power play for Philadelphia. Cates is denied there. Swayman holds. That power play is killed off. The Flyers go back to the power play. There's a near miss for Couturier. They cycle. Forrester has a blast that's saved. It's cleared out. It's killed off. The shots are 5-1 for the Flyers 9 minutes in. So, yeah, that's pretty accurate as to how the game was going at that point. Brazeau has a turnover shot that's saved by Ersson. And if you're saying, who's Brazeau? Yep. Bruins press with 9.5 minutes left. They're kept to the outside. There's a power play for Boston, an early cycle, and eventually they score. It's a tic-tac-toe goal buried in close by Morgan Geekie, Coyle, and Poitras with the assist on that one. That's at 14:50. So Boston's up 1-0. 2:58 left. The Flyers get a power play. Forrester's denied. Rebounds cleared out. That power play's killed off, and then the Bruins press to close it out. So after the first, it's 1-0 Boston. Second period, it's early on. Atkinson backhands one from the doorstep. Lawton and Frost with the assist at 1 minute and 10 seconds. So Atkinson was interviewed after the first period, said, yep, I'm feeling better than I did in my first game, and he proves it by scoring early in the second period of this one. Bruins press to respond. However, at 2:07, Konechny scores from Frost on a rush. That one went through Swayman. Not a fantastic goal for Swayman, and the Flyers have a lead. Strong back checking by Boston on the next shift. Greer then has a shot that's tipped. That goes wide. Flyers clear it out. We get a power play for Philly. Konechny has a tip shot that's held. Tippett was then denied. Power play's killed off, but it was a good power play. It went 0 for 4 to that point, but it was a good power play. Flyers press at the half. Remember, it's not just about the power play goals. It's how does it look, how's it structure, and all that. It's just the preseason. Power play for Boston. That's killed off. Ristolainen with a blast that's held as the Flyers press. Atkinson to Frost. Near miss there. They press. And then Farabee. It's a point shot. It's screened. It's tipped in front by Farabee. Addard and Couturier with the assists at 16 minutes. So there's Atkinson with a goal. Couturier with a helper. The Flyers are up 3-1 after 2. Third period, early jump for the Flyers. The Bruins get some zone time, but they're not getting shots when they get that zone time. Power play for Boston. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1 that the Bruins break up. They do kill that off. Steen has a shot that deflects out, and the Bruins are just flat at this point in the game. The opportunities that they're taking, not the best of shots, and when they hit the net, Ersson's there. Shots are 7-2 for the Flyers with 7 minutes left. Brink has a shot that's held. The Flyers in control. The more I see of Bobby Brink, the more angry I am that Boston didn't pick him up. It's not just the alliteration anymore. Brink's a pretty good player. So the Flyers have a 3-on-2. Swayman holds on there. The goalie pull takes place with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and I thought, why? But I guess the answer is why not, as preseason. Mitchell has a shot that's blocked the Flyers clear, and then with 2.2 seconds left, Bobby Brink coming down the boards actually draws a penalty. So the Flyers end the game on the power play. It's only 2 seconds long. They don't score on it. Your final score is 3-1. The Flyers have evened their record in the preseason, and the Bruins, Well, they rested a lot of guys. So, yeah, I don't know that you learn a lot from this if you're a Boston fan, but if you're a Philly fan, seeing some of these guys click together has to feel pretty good. All right, next up. The New Jersey Devils at home against the Islanders. I did not expect this one to be crazy. I took a copious amount of notes and immediately regretted it. Sorokin versus Schmid in this one. Early zone time for the Devils. Toffoli has a shot that's blocked as the Devils press. And then Barzal. He snaps one glove side at 3:44. And if Barzal can shoot like that, he's going to have a good year. So it's 1-0 Islanders there. The Islanders press for another. Willman was then denied on a rush by the Devils. Nosek can't bury one in close. And then Nelson tips one in. It was a nice pass to set it up. Engvall and Pulock with the assists at 8:16. And then Marino would get New Jersey on the board. He scores from Ball and Toffoli at 10 minutes and 2 seconds. And that was off of a one face-off in their own zone. Or in the opposing zone. And it was a nice play, nice cycle. Marino buries it. The Islanders look to answer. The Devils blocking. Jack Hughes has a net feed. That was blocked and cleared by the Islanders. Power play is drawn by the Devils. That's killed off. The Islanders get a power play. Wallstrom was robbed during that. And then a good aggressive penalty kill finishes that out. So after one period of play, it is 2-1 for the Islanders. Second period, early power play for the Devils. Back-to-back clears by the Islanders. They would kill it off. But then Bratt. Actually, no, Bratt scores. This is a power play goal. I didn't mark it as such. It's the preseason. Please forgive me. Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes with the assists at 2:14. I think I was just excited that both the Hughes brothers assisted on this together, but I believe that is a power play goal. Devils press for another, and they'd get it. Bratt scores on the rush. It's 5-hole from Toffoli at 3:54. Now, that's not a typical goal for Sorokin to give up, so not really a big deal there. Because, preseason, I'm sure he said that, probably went over to the bench. Sorry, preseason. But yeah, so that wasn't a fantastic one. But then at 6:03, Engvall gets that back. It's another goal scored on the rush. The Islanders press at 8 minutes, and Marino would score at 10 minutes and 40 seconds from Lazar. End to end, and that one went in off Hutton's skate. Now, if Hutton hadn't dropped to try to block a pass, it doesn't go in. But if that had happened, odds are that cross-crease pass ends up connecting, and the Devils score anyways. Devils press for another, and eventually they get it. At 12:21, it's Jack Hughes from Bratt and Nemitz. Tic-tac-toe play. Iffy defense on both teams in this one. The goaltending, not as stellar as you might be used to, especially if you're an Islanders fan. But again, it's the preseason. There's some pond hockey going on here. Nice to see Nemitz on the board. It looks like he's had a really strong preseason. It'll be interesting to see how his rookie year goes. Lee and Bastian are unfriendly. There's a power play that comes out of that for the Devils. That was killed off, though, without much trouble, and after 2 periods of play. Well, the Devils, with 4 goals in the second, have 5-3 for the New York Islanders. So early in the third, Barzal, he can do math. He scores at 11 seconds from Horvat and Mayfield. That makes it a 1-goal game. So it was a one-timer on a nice cross-ice pass by Horvat. I know there's a lot of people looking at Horvat's contract and saying it's terrible, but I still think Horvat's going to have a good year. That being said, at 4:18, the Devils get it back. It's Bratt scoring the hat-trick goal from Marino and Ball, and so Jesper Bratt with a hat-trick. He started last season really fast. It looks like he's ready to hit this season, scoring at a similar pace. We'll see how it goes and see if he's able to maintain it over a full season. Devils press for another, have some momentum. The fans then call one. The referee does not. Miller has a shot that's held as the Devils press. We get a power play for the Islanders with 6:47 left. The Devils kill that off. But then a point shot is tipped in. It's Lee tipping it in. Aho and Barzal with the assists at 16:23. So you're only down by 1. You pull the goaltender with 2 minutes left. Things get punchy on a hole by Schmid during that. And then with 44.6 seconds left, the Islanders call a timeout. And while they had some opportunities, the Devils do hold on, which is good because I didn't have much room to put a 4 in whatever would happen in overtime. I'm glad I'm not tracking all the goalie stats. Not sure would have fit there. That being said, last game I'm going to recap on this one is the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is the 3rd straight game where they've played against one another. I didn't watch the first 2, so here we are. Allen versus Samsonov. Early jump for the Habs and Josh Anderson. Shots are 3-0 in favor of Montreal at 2.5 minutes. Then we get a power play from Montreal, and they score on it. It's Norlinder. Norlinder scores the power play marker from Suzuki and Monahan at 3:24. That was the 5th shot of the game already for Montreal. None for the Leafs at that stage. The Leafs press at 5.5 minutes. The Habs block and they clear, but then on their first shot, the Leafs get on the board. And it's Noah Gregor, who's on a tryout, probably gets a contract, I would think. He scores from Reeves at 7:13. So again, that's the first shot. It was bad angle. Goes off Allen's glove and in. Allen would probably want that one back. So then there's a good forecheck by Kampf and the Leafs. On that next shift, we get a power play for Toronto. There's an early clear. The Leafs cycle. Matthews has a shot that's blocked, and then Tavares buries it to put the Leafs in the lead. He scores from Matthews and Liljegren at 12:10. That one was tipped in front. With the games I've seen of Toronto so far this preseason, I think Liljegren's going to have a good year too. Leafs look for more. The fans call a trip. The referee does not. Leafs do get a power play shortly thereafter. So it wasn't on that trip, but it was a play shortly after that. Tavares nearly adds another. That's cleared out. And so that power play was killed off. So it's 2-1 after one period for Toronto. Second period, early jump for the Leafs. Allen holds on during that. The Habs press, near miss by Jack-Eye. Jack-Eye prominent in this game at points tonight. There's a press by the Leafs at 3 minutes, but the shots on net are 3-2 for the Habs 5 minutes in. So while the Leafs are getting that zone time, they're not getting as many shots on the net as one would think with the amount of zone time they were getting. Liljegren has a shot that's blocked. Nyes was then robbed. Leafs press. Brody has a shot that's covered and held. Power play for the Leafs. They cycle. Liljegren has a blast that's blocked. We get more cycling. That power play's killed off. One shot on net. Habs press. The Leafs, though, doing a good job blocking out. Net feed to Doc. There's a near miss there. There's a power play for the Habs. Early cycle. A shorthanded Matthews rush. He is absolutely robbed by Allen on that one. That power play's killed off. But not long after it ends, Toronto gets a goal anyways. It's Domi from Nylander at 14:45. So Domi makes it 3-1. Nyes then had a rush chance that was defended. And the Leafs get a power play with 1:47 left. So this is a chance to put the game away. And instead, Montreal comes back a bit. It's a shorthanded goal at 19:48. It is Kirby Dach scoring this one from Monahan and Kovacevic. Toronto was just outworked on that power play. Montreal wanted it more. And when that puck went in, if you watch that replay, you would think Montreal was the one that was on the power play in that one. So after two periods, the score is 3-2 in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Early in the third, the Habs finished that last 13 seconds of the kill. And then they get some zone time after that. The Leafs, though, they go back to the power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Harris. That ends up getting blocked. Harris had a good game. Leafs, no sustained press. That ends up being killed off on the power play. Allen then outraced Domi to a loose puck. That's always entertaining when the goalie and the forward are racing for a puck. Power play for Montreal was a delay game call by Nylander. He had to, though. Otherwise, there might have been a goal there. They cycle. Kampf steals it. Brody clears it. Then there's a shorthanded rush by Matthews and post and out. So the idea of playing Matthews shorthanded, I saw some people saying, oh, you can't do that. That's a terrible idea. Yeah, there's a rush here. He's denied. And then on the next rush in the third period, it's post and out. He played about 2 minutes of penalty killing time tonight. He's going to be on that penalty kill, and he's going to make that penalty kill more dangerous for Toronto. Habs press at the half, and then Marner with a rush chance the other way. Lafferty was denied on the doorstep, and then Tavares scores the insurance goal. Looks like this should salt it away. It was 11:38. Liljegren and Lafferty with the assists. So you're on home ice. You're up by 2. You've beaten Montreal twice already in the preseason, back-to-back games. Now you're trying to sweep the 3-game set. Montreal, though, doesn't go away. So the Habs would press after, and eventually they score. Kovacevic has a point shot that deflects in. Jack-Eye and Slavkovsky with the assists at 13:43. So now it's a 1-goal game. Caulfield then fires one wide on a rush. The goalie pull takes place with 2:16 left, where Marty St. Louis calls a timeout. Whatever he discussed ends up working. At 19:19, it is Josh Anderson. He puts one over the blocker side on Samsonov, and Doc and Suzuki with the assists. So suddenly we're tied. We're going to overtime. Good thing I had this spot open. I thought about recapping 4 games. If I had, I'd have to have a little board, and I don't want to use a little board for preseason. So in the overtime, really, the Habs controlled it early. I don't think the Leafs touched it. There's a post for Caulfield, and then Suzuki buries it. Suzuki from Caulfield at 31 seconds. Montreal steals one in Toronto. It is preseason. It's not really all that important what happens with your record. The important thing is, how did the young guys play, and how did the fringe players who are trying to to earn those last few spots on the roster. How did they do? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, regarding any of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.